Well, there's one officer that stopped me from when I was walking my dog one time. He had a squash sticker on his neck. And like I said, I do know the difference between the squash sticker and the Jewish symbol. That was a squash sticker. It was boxed, it was square. Inside the squash sticker, there was initials, AN, which my guess would be Earn Nation. I'm not sure. I've never seen one with the initials, but and I asked him what it was, and his response was, "That's none of your business." And I was like, "Oh, okay, so why are you stopping me again?" And he goes, "Well, do your dog have a license?" "Yes, my dog has a license. My dog's a service dog." And he goes, "Well, you need to keep him on the leash." And I'm like, "Well, she is on the leash because I have one of those leashes with a real long, well, it's a 90-foot leash. You know, like I said, my dog's a service dog. I can actually walk her without the leash, but I always keep something on her." And he made it very clear that if he was to ever catch me with my dog off the leash, that he would either take my dog and give me a ticket.
How long ago did that incident happen?
That was about 2 months ago.
2 months ago? Do you recall the officer's name?
Oh, that's another interesting thing too. He actually had a tag over top of his badge, because I was really trying to look for that, because a lot of officers don't really wear name tags. I know I did because of the type of officer that I was, but his badge was covered up with probably a commission or something like that. I wasn't exactly sure exactly what it was, but I couldn't read it. He did have on an Auburn uniform, I do know that, but like I said, and he didn't have on a hat. That was another thing. I know our requirements that if we're a uniform officer, if we approach anybody, we have to be in full uniform, we must wear a hat. I don't know what the rule is here, but this guy was, I don't know, actually, I was under the impression that he might have been off duty the way that he approached me. Wow. You know, because when he pulled up, I was walking down, I don't know the name of the street right here, but I was walking that way towards the park. He just pulled up on the wrong, I was on the opposite side of the street, you know, with the cars coming towards me. He pulled up on the wrong side of the street, jumped out the car, and then started walking away from his car towards me. So then I stopped, turned around, and asked him, "Is everything okay? Am I safe?" And he goes, "Yeah, I need to talk to you." And that's how that conversation happened.
And that was about 2 months ago, you said.
Right.
Would you recognize that officer if you saw him again?
Yeah. I'll never forget his face. The difference between a squash sticker and the Hebrew character. The Hebrew character is more like this. And it's supposed to represent the Star of David and the 3 sons. This line right here is supposed to represent the Far East, where the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. I think that's how what this is supposed to represent. Shay, please shut the door. We're recording. Shut the door. We're recording. Shut the door. And this right here is supposed to represent, this represents the sun going down, and this represents the sun going up. Alright, that's the Hebrew symbol that a lot of people wear, but they wouldn't mark their body because it's against their religion. This would probably be on a cloak or a cloth, which is made out of sackcloth, which is the burl sack that you find potatoes and stuff like that in. And this right here represents what they call a salat. And that means they pray when the sun goes down. It's called making salat. And that's what that represents.
So you know the difference between an actual swastika symbol and a Hebrew character?
Exactly. Yes. I'm disabled, so I'm home. I'm doing yard work all the time. I don't see no crime, but I always see the police here like something's always going on. There were tennis shoes hanging up there. I guess the kids threw them up there, you know. I called the city to ask them to remove it, but it wasn't until just recently me and the landlord here seen the power people out there, and we offered to pay them to take it down. They said, no, well, since we are here, we do it. And they took them down. But, you know, I think that Black East that represents, well, this particular street is selling drugs or somebody died here or something like that. I didn't want to see that. So I asked them to take it down. But when I asked for the city to do it, they kept saying they'll send somebody out. Like I said, I've been here over 6 months. So.
And you've never seen any gang activity here in those 6 months, or
No.
felt that anybody hanging around here was involved in gang activity?
No, most of the kids that hang around here are just kids. You know, it's summertime, they have nowhere to go. Like I said, they have nothing to do, nowhere to go. Nobody's really reaching out to the kids in the community to say, hey, come here, gather here. You know, let's do this. No. Every other corner there's a church, but you know there's nobody in the church other than the women's riding around, you know, ministering to people. They can stop by here. I feed them, we eat, we talk, you know, and stuff like that. But there's nothing, you know, for the kids to look forward to in this community that I can see.
Well, hi, my name is Elena, and I was explaining to the young lady in regards to an incident that we had here out the other evening with 3 officers. We had 2 officers come through walking, one not in uniform, Seahawks jersey with a vest over it, the other one full uniform, all blue, hat, glasses on, and came up and asked us if we had heard any shooting or seen anybody running around, and we explained to the officer, no, we've been here a couple minutes and haven't heard or seen anything. They proceeded to the neighbor's house where the porch was empty at the moment. As soon as I seen somebody walk out the door, he requested him to sit when he saw that he had a bracelet on his ankle. The officers then spread out, spread the kids apart, had 2 of them sit. One was taken to another area, was questioned there, pulled out pictures. Have you seen so-and-so? Have you guys been out of your home? The gentleman proceeded to stand in front of the younger boys and crossed arm, not talking, kind of, you know, you're not moving, don't say anything, don't do nothing. Another gentleman pulled out a phone. They're talking back and forth on the radio. He gets on the phone, stays on the phone. And the 3rd officer that was in front of the young boys notices a baseball bat that was on the ground, picked it up and was looking at it, and realized, you know, had writing, kind of flipped it and was reading the stuff that was on it and was looking at it, and proceeded to hold the bat in his hand and kind of bounce it up and down like he was trying to intimidate these young children. And I'm looking at this going, you're really trying to intimidate a poor, I mean, you can tell he's a baby, he's a little baby, 12, 13 years old, and you're seeing a grown, very tall officer in full uniform, glasses, you can't even see his eyes, patting the bat. And I was just like, no, something's wrong. And we looked forward to the gentleman that was separated, and he's in tears. He's red-eyed, just sobbing, cleaning his face with his t-shirt. And so we proceed to get out to make sure everything's okay. And as soon as we get out of the vehicle, they start taking their pictures. And I let the gentleman know, you're a minor. You need to have your mother or your legal guardian with you. You need to question why they're doing this to you if you've been in the home. You have a monitor on your foot. You can't leave. If you can't leave, then how is it that they're saying that you're doing this? Your machine would have gone off. He says, well, I can't do anything. They're telling me I have to do it because I need to cooperate. So the gentleman let the police officers take their pictures, had them all stand on the porch, took all 3 of the boys' picture, and then proceeded to take a picture of the bat. He took a picture, flipped it, took a picture, flipped it. He took a good 4 or 5 pictures of the bat. And he's like, so what do you need this for? He said, I play baseball. And the officer continued with his, patting of the bat, and then I looked at him and he kind of noticed that he was making us uncomfortable, so he put the bat inside the bush. And then proceeded to, kind of step back, but still in his stand of, I'm the one that's in charge here, don't get, in my face or in my way. And when the officer without the uniform, with the jersey, noticed that we were standing there, he's like, well, we appreciate your boys' cooperation. He kept saying it over and over, like he wanted us to hear that he was telling them that. And he's like, as long as none of you have shot a gun within the last 20 minutes, you should be fine. And the boys had already told them that they hadn't left the house. They were in the house. They came out of a sliding glass door. But he proceeded to tell them, as long as you didn't shoot the gun, then you shouldn't have any issues. They grabbed the camera, thanked them for their time, and we asked him, well, are you specifically questioning these boys? No, we're questioning the entire neighborhood. But when they proceeded to leave the residence, they walked straight down the sidewalk, passing a good 20 kids, 4 or 5 adults wanting to know what was happening, didn't question anybody else. So I went up to the younger boy, was almost in tears, and I said, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Well, what can I do?" And that was when I asked, "Well, is your mother here?" She had to run an errand. I'm here with, the older gentleman that was there. And they were upset. They were shaken. The other one was still kind of trying to hold back the tears, and he walked off in front of the sidewalk and was kind of playing with his basketball, trying to not let the younger boy see that he was intimidated. And it was just an unfortunate situation of, you've got 3 grown, tall, very big police officers with 3 young boys that were obviously scared and intimidated. In regards to them leaving, the 3rd officer that drove in, he parked in front of the complex, and we assumed that they were all Auburn police officers because we're in Auburn. When he walked by us, he was obviously upset that we were watching and that we were so close. He kind of slammed his door hard and caused me to turn and look, and on his badge it said Federal Way, the Federal Way Gang, and it was the same thing on the side of the vehicle. And I didn't realize that you could, why would you need a Federal Way officer out here for a shooting that happened over 30 minutes ago? But that's what they had. They had other officers out, and like I said, it was an uncomfortable situation because you have officers that are from different towns and you're not understanding what's going on, and you're seeing them obviously trying to intimidate somebody. So it's just an unfortunate situation. Uncomfortable. You should feel comfortable with the police officers that are around your home.
I got a question for you. Have you seen any gang activity in this neighborhood?
I haven't. I see a lot of young boys that come out here, they giggle, they have fun, they play frisbee, they're throwing things around, they're being boys. And I haven't personally seen anything that would make me uncomfortable. I have 5 children. And if I was uncomfortable, my children wouldn't be outside. My children are out here. They associate with the young boys. They're very kind, very respectful. Have no issues with them. To this day, I haven't had any issues with any of the boys.
Have you heard any gunshots in this neighborhood?
I have heard gunshots on 2 occasions, but it's not been like in this area. It's been more other apartment complexes down or over back that way. Specifically right in here, no, I haven't.
Okay, thanks a lot.
No, as I was explaining to the young lady, we'd never, ever had cop cars around here. I mean, we could sit out on my lawn, see one go by maybe, if lucky, once a day, and now it's like every 5 to 10 minutes. And they don't go around once. They'll circle the block. Because you can tell because you start to know faces. I don't know Auburn very well. I don't know the officers, but they're here all the time. And I'm just like, that's just...
And whose place are they always going to?
It's actually, they'll circle, and they always tend to stop here to look at this apartment over here. And I've even had an officer question. There was I guess a complaint of a fight. And I was out here on my phone, and he says, can I have a moment of your time? And he requested me to go to the vehicle. I did. And he said, did you see a fight out here? And I said, no, sir, I was on my phone. I haven't seen anything out here. And he said, well, what about this apartment? And he pointed specifically to that apartment. And I was kind of like, why would he point specifically there? He's like, what about all these teenage boys? I said, they're out there being teenage boys, talking to girls, giggling, and being, teenage boys. But it was just kind of weird that he would point specifically to them and request information about them, when over this way there was a whole bunch of people. Over here had a complete party going on, but yet they asked for that apartment. So I was just kind of like, I don't know. Not a comfortable feeling to know that you can kind of be targeted like that.